Welcome back to Vee Vlogs. We're currently in the office and we have a new rug for underneath my studio stuff. It's gray, so it better matches like the wall things we got, and it's bigger, so hopefully that kind of gives it more of a soundproofing when I'm filming. But yeah, also Ty found out, well, we think that this backdrop I'm using is actually from Goosebumps, is what you said.
It's one of the illustrations that were on one of the books.
Yeah.
I think so.
Which I didn't know about, so I guess Ty will double check when he's editing this, and if it is, he'll put a thumbs up, and if it's not, he'll put a thumbs down. Fair?
Sure.
So yeah, I think that's where the painting is from. Whenever you guys like tell me where things are from, if I don't know my backdrop origins, I like to let you know, just so we give credit where credit is due. Anyways, in today's video, it is a collab with my cousin. His name is Dave, and he's also a YouTuber. He has a channel called Daved and Confused. So today we're gonna be talking about our creepiest trick-or-treat stories because Halloween is coming up. And let me tell you, Dave has a very, very scary story. It's gonna be like the best one out of the three of us that we're telling for sure.
Hey, mine is pretty great.
Yours is good too, but in a different way. It's a sad story. So Ty's is sad, mine is frustrating, and Dave's is scary. So you have like a mix of like everything. So,
a nice good mix, you know.
A very good mix.
The mix that gets you through the day. Frustration, sadness, and fear.
So I volunteered to go first. Actually, I have a frustrating story, which I think I may have told you guys before, and then I have like kind of a creepy one. So my first one is, I think this happened back in like 2005. Maybe before then, maybe like 2003.
Isn't it scary? I think that was like 15 to 17 years ago.
Oh my goodness, a lot of my subscribers were born in like 2014, and I'm like, I was in college in 2014, like what? It's crazy.
Yep.
Or like when I'm like, oh, I graduated in like 2012, people were like, I wasn't even born yet. And I'm like, what? Anyway, so this probably happened back when Mandy was, I would say 5 years old. We went trick-or-treating with my dad. He was the one who always came trick-or-treating with us. We went to this specific house that had a lot of decorations. You could tell the person put a lot of work into it. On the porch, they had one of those, you know those hanging bat decorations that actually flap around in circles? And they make like little like squealing noises like actual bats. So this person had hung these bats really low to the porch so that anybody passing would like knock into them, or like, you know, they were like really low to your face. Well, my sister and I went up to get candy, and while the guy was giving us our candy, Mandy reached over and pulled down all the bat decorations that were flapping around. Now, this man absolutely freaked out at us, and we were so little, like honestly, it wasn't very fair of him to do, because if you're gonna put decorations in like hand's reach of children, that's your fault, you know what I mean? Don't make cool little flappy things around if kids can't like touch them or play with them. Mandy did pull them down though, she didn't just play with them. And him and my dad got in this huge argument because he was yelling at my dad's children, who like wants to protect us, right? So it was a whole squabble. We never went to that house again. That's my first story. Whenever I think of trick-or-treating, I always think of that story. And the second story is, we always had this house in our neighborhood, Ty knows which one, that was always vacant. And it was like, probably like 2 or 3 houses down from us. You know that house that like no one lives there?
I was confused because you always said it was a different house every time, or at least I thought you did.
Oh. So there was this one house on our street, like 4 houses down, that was always vacant. Like growing up, no one lived there. There was no one ever in the driveway. We never saw anyone in the backyard. I think someone bought the house like 2 years ago, so someone is there now. But my whole life, it was a vacant house. So one year on Halloween, I was trick-or-treating. I think I was like probably 11 or 12. So I was getting to like the end stages of my trick-or-treating. And so my friend and I were like,
why don't we just go up to that house and ring the doorbell and see if anybody actually is there?
And so I was like,
I don't know, like that could be risky, like I don't think anyone's there, and if there is, they're definitely strange because they never leave their house, their lights are never on, like they're either hiding in there or no one's there.
That sounds like us.
It sounds like, yeah, I know. So we went up to the door, and I remember we pressed our ear against it and we rang the doorbell, and we heard the strangest noise. It was like someone screaming, not screaming, like making a loud no sound, like elongated, like As if they were like screaming at us, but it
So
sounded
the
like
same sound I make when someone rings the doorbell here.
but it sounded ghostly, like it was eerie. Like both of us ran away screaming, we never went there again, and like that house just gives me the creeps. So that's my second trick-or-treating story. So Ty's gonna tell his very sad one now, and then we're gonna pass it along to Dave.
So my trick-or-treating story happened when I was very young. Like this was at the point where I don't really remember too much of it. When I was young, my mom would make my brother and I like really awesome costumes. And I remember we were dressed up with, I think, our neighbors, or at the time, friends. And we were all the Teletubbies. There were 4 of us. Tinky Winky, Dipsy, Lala, and Poe.
Which one were you?
I was Dipsy. Dipsy's green. It's great. My brother was Tinky Winky. So this was when I was really young, and at this point I don't think I really had very many manners. And I think this is one of the defining points in my life where I learned about manners and that you have to say please and thank you for things. Going out trick-or-treating, I don't think it was with my parents, it was with somebody else who was driving us around. And we went to a neighborhood, and instead of going trick-or-treat and saying thank you, I'd go up to the door and be like, give me candy. Every single time, and they'd say,
Ty, you need to say thank you, you need to say please and thank you.
And I just did not listen. I was on a mission. I had my pillowcase. I was getting that candy, and I was being succinct about it.
Give me
You need to
candy.
be efficient. Give me candy. So I kept doing that, and they warned me. They said,
Ty, if you keep saying that, we're gonna have to put you in the car, and that's gonna be it for you.
I didn't take that warning. Went up to the last house, give me candy.
It's like, okay, that's it.
So I got my candy. I was in the car for the rest of the night.
So you had a timeout on Halloween?
I had a timeout on Halloween. And honestly,
Aww.
I know that sounds a little harsh, especially for a kid, but that was a character growing moment for me. I learned that you have to say please and thank you for stuff.
So
Yeah.
you were just a little Teletubby sitting
There's
in a
just
car?
Teletubby in a car. Just,
That's so
just-
sad.
It's just how it went. But that's my trick-or-treating story. That's the only defining trick-or-treating story I've had.
So we're gonna pass it along to Dave now. He has a really creepy story, as you can probably tell by the title of this video, so here's Dave.
What is going on? Dave from Dave Confused. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my little portion of this video. So, as you may know, I am cousins to the great Jessii Vee, the almighty Jessica Vee on the YouTube, the queen of the internet. And she's given me the opportunity to come and tell a little bit of a Halloween trick-or-treat story from my past. Now, I don't want to keep you too long, but this is probably the craziest story you've ever heard. Untrue. Back when I was about 11 or 12, I lived in a small town just south of Toronto, Canada. And I'm talking small, like I'm talking the entire town. We had maybe 1 streetlight, 2 convenience stores, and then a bunch of really random touristy stores that no one in town ever went to. But there was always this kind of weird story, this urban legend in the town about the man in the white suit. I have no idea where it originated from. I have no idea who came up with this story. All I know is everybody knew the story of the man in the white suit. Well, like I said, I was about 11 or 12 and it was Halloween and I was going trick-or-treating with my best friend Derek. Now, we had a plan to attack Halloween night. We would get in our first costume and we would do our route, our designated map of the town to fill up our first bag of candy. And you would always aim for the best houses. You know, people you knew or the best decorations or something. Those were the houses you aimed for. So we had done our first round and we went back to my house to change into our second costumes in order to do our round 2. And Derek kind of stopped and asked me if I had noticed this guy in a white suit he keeps seeing everywhere. And I was like, no, what are you talking about? Like, don't, listen, this is a dumb story, don't get into it. And he kept telling me every once in a while we'd be walking from house to house and he would notice in the corner of his eye a guy wearing a white suit. I was just like, dude, don't worry about it. Like, let's, you know, eyes on the prize. Let's go get the candy. Don't worry about it. And we did our second route. Well, by the time we got back to my house again, he was like, I swear I keep seeing this guy. I swear I keep seeing this guy. And I just wasn't taking it on. I was kind of like, whatever. All right, sure. Cool. Well, I remember Halloween being on like a Saturday night that year, and Derek crashed at my place. And we were both, you know, I had a bunk bed at the time, so, you know, sleeping on the bunks. And I remember waking up at like 3:30, and I distinctly remember it being that time because I had a SpongeBob alarm clock. Don't make fun of the SpongeBob alarm clock. Don't. And I remember waking up at 3:30 and could not get back to sleep. Like I was on like a sugar rush. Like I couldn't get back to sleep. And I remember going to the kitchen to get a drink of orange juice. I drank my juice and then I walked back to my bedroom. And to get to my bedroom, I had to go through the living room, which had big giant windows, big glass windows, like you could see everything outside. And it overlooked a small turn in the road in front of our house. Very small area, but it overlooked. And I remember passing that window and seeing somebody just walking down the street. And it was a man in a white suit, full white suit, white tie, white jacket, white pants, but black shoes. And I remember this weird feeling, this overall, like, my chest got heavy and dropped into my stomach. Like it was tingly, like I felt so strange about it. And I immediately like power walked back to my room and woke up Derek and said, I think I just saw him. I saw him outside the window. And Derek did this whole like, I told you so, I told you, like I've been seeing him, he's everywhere, blah, blah, blah. We both kind of decided not to talk about it anymore. Just don't talk about it. And we went back to bed. And to be honest, I don't know if we've talked about it since. It's kind of a strange sighting. You know, it's always been this weird story in my hometown about the man in the white suit. And there's a part of me that thinks me and my friend legit saw the man in the white suit. So that's my creepy trick-or-treat story. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Thank you, Jessii Vee, for letting me on the video. And these are dogs on werewolves.
All right, so that was Dave's story. Guys, don't forget, if you want to hear more creepy stuff from him, he tells a lot of scary stories, does a lot of scary content just like me. We have linked his channel down below. Definitely go subscribe, give him some V-Team support, because if he's my family, he's your family too. Remember that. So thanks, Dave, for telling your story. And we're also doing a bunch of videos over on his channel too. So if you want to see me and him do content over there, definitely go check it out. Leave your creepy trick-or-treat stories down below, and we will see you in our next video. Bye!
See you guys.